Welcome to Curious Coach, aha moments for coaches. This space is to document and share insights and revelations about the craft, the art, and the profession of coaching. I'm Tiffany Dedeaux, a master certified coach, certified professional resume writer, and the founder of Sacred Time. As a career coach and guide, I see myself as a light in dark places, so I may illuminate some topics for you because it's important to me that you identify and master your own coach approach. This isn't just a podcast. It's a place to walk with insight, sit with questions, and to follow the thread of what calls us into deeper knowing. Welcome to Curious Coach. Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about why now. So I am going to tell you a few of the reasons why I decided to do a podcast now. I do want to get into how why now relates to coaching. And then I'm going to wrap this thing up with an invitation for you. So let us get started, shall we? So first off, the reason why I wanted to do a podcast now. Well, I don't know that I wanted to do a podcast. I did hear it come up, and I think the final piece was when the great Nicole Venner said, we should all do a podcast, because I was hanging around brilliant coaches, as I always do, and we were having this just impactful, insightful conversation. And you know when you start dropping wisdom and you wish somebody picked it up? Well, it was one of those conversations. And Nicole's like, we should do a podcast, or that should have been a podcast. But I also had a colleague that used to say all the time to me, hey, Tiffany, you and I should do a podcast. And then I never heard from her again. So I was like, well, I went ahead and used AI and I started putting some things together. And I'm actually jumping into a few podcasts. I've been a guest on a few, but I also want to do things my way. Have you met me? I was thinking it's a rebellious streak, but I think it's just in my astrology, to be fair and honest at this point. And I can say that when you get a certain age, you're like, I don't care enough about what other people think that I'm going to follow all these perceived rules. And then I realize at a certain point, these are perceived rules. Somebody didn't actually tell me I couldn't do the podcast this way. So I'm just going to give it a whirl and see how we go. So those are a few of the reasons why I actually started thinking more seriously about doing a podcast. I have also been preparing for years to do audiobook narration. I did go through an ACX masterclass because I used to be in TV news. One of the reporters I used to work with has gone through narrations, and I bought his book, and I was like, oh my God, you're a different character. This guy, live and in person, is a different character. I mean, I saw his band. They're called The Civilized Animal. I think it's ska, so it's like the male version of No Doubt, but not as big. And so there's all this that was happening, and he got into this master class, and they basically gave us tips on how to get on ACX, which is the platform so that people could do audiobooks and audition for audiobooks and do narration for Audible in particular. So I started thinking I would do that for my own books because I've got quite a few mostly on Amazon is where I make sure that they are. But also because I thought at some point, maybe that's a part of the career that I could go into. I could always talk. I am my mother's daughter. You've never met my mother, but trust me, I am my mother's daughter, so I can talk. And so I thought narration would be the great way to go. And I really feel opened up, and I think that this is going to be true for coaching as well. I do see this as very much true for coaching, but I see that the way that I do things, the way that I need to do them, let me say it this way, the way that I need to do things is very much got to be in my own style. It's got to make sense to me so that I can, in fact, embrace it, lean into it, and keep going with it. And I feel very much opened up by the audiobook narration styles of Mel Robbins with the Let Them Theory, and Brene Brown with the new book, Strong Ground, because Mel Robbins is just a character. Like, I don't even know, I think I knew of her, and then I started listening to the book, and she's a hoot. I feel like I'm just hanging out having coffee with her as she's reading this book. It doesn't feel very stiff. It feels very alive and very conversational, and that's kind of opened me up to the style that I want to have. And I thought, well, shoot, I might as well just do this with podcasts too. And I will say, Brene Brown, she is so funny. Like, I don't know that I remember her TED Talks or other books. Like, I'm at the age, maybe that's now, or there's so much life that there's a few things I don't remember, like what I ate for breakfast yesterday. I'm pretty sure I might have skipped it. But when Brene Brown reads this book, and Strong Ground in particular, because I don't remember the others, I'm like, wow, she is just going to go off script, and she'll tell you. But the fact that that is okay, I mean, it's Brene Brown, and I'm me, but I give myself permission to be my own Brene Brown. I am me, and here we go. So these are all the reasons why I thought it's okay for me to do the podcast. It's okay for me to do the podcast in this way. I am on purpose doing no video. I always thought that I would do things and not be on video. I was just going to do a bunch of presentation slides and throw those up. That was going to be my entire YouTube channel. What I do know is that there are reasons why you don't have to be on camera, and there's reasons why you do have to be on camera. You just get to pick your reasons. So I am picking the same reason why I always love coaching in an audio-only mode, because I don't like to sit still, to be fair and honest. So I'm actually walking around my living room, right around the coffee table. And so I like to move around, I like to talk, and for me, I listen differently in that way. I get that when you see people on video, especially as you're coaching, you're very much going to see them lean back or get emotional before you actually maybe hear the whimper or the sigh come through. And I get that, and I can call that out. But also, there's just something different about just hearing a voice and being immersed in the sounds and stories that someone is telling, especially if you'll resonate with what they're saying. So I want no pressure for any of us. I also very much encourage people to be on the move. I have sat so long in front of this screen that I really want to be out walking around, and I encourage you to do that too. So nothing really serious to see here, but definitely something serious to listen to and talk about. There's also a few other things that I want to share with you that's going to make up the reason and the approach for this podcast. One is, I realized very many years ago, I don't know where I was going with that, so there you go. Quite a few years ago when I was recruiting, I built out my LinkedIn profile in a way where I was trying to attract specific recruiters and business leaders. And I felt like if I put in the words that helped them to self-select, then that also made it easier for them to find me versus me always going out and hunting them. Because I don't like sales. I will tell, like, if you know me, you know I don't like sales. I just want to talk to people, resonate with people, and let's just do good work together. That's what I want. And so I put a part of my tagline, it's been that way for probably 10 years. Now it says, I think it was tech industry warriors, and then a lot of wars happened, and I just grew up, and I was like, oh, this isn't war, people, this is life. And so I saw this as leaders. Instead of warriors, I put leaders, tech industry leaders who see things differently. I see things differently, and I could tell by the way certain things that I say or the way that I think resonate with others and open them up to new ways of thinking. So I figure I might as well share these insights with you. I mean, we're friends, right? So that's part of it. And then also, I recognize that it's always going to be more fun if we could do things with others. I also think it can be helpful to do things on our own. So there's going to be a mix where there might be other people in this podcast, but there might be a lot of sharing because I just learned something and I can't wait to tell my best friend, you. And so that is where this is all coming from. Those are my reasons in case you're curious. But really, when you think about why now, that is pretty much the part of the opening set of questions that comes up in coaching, right? So this is where we turn into how this relates to coaching as well. I am caught in two different parts with this. I know I call this episode Why Now? I am also very much, and I'm going to open up windows because now it is past sunrise. And that's how early I get up. I love a good morning, a quiet time before life gets noisy, and the household too. Well, also we're a military household, so it gets noisy pretty early, which is why I am also an early riser. But in terms of the beginning, when you first talk to a client, a prospective client, especially if you're working with a company or on a platform where you get lots of opportunity to talk to people, you might ask them, like, hey, what makes now the time for coaching? I think there's a lot of feelings around the question of why, or at least I imagine there is, for a couple of reasons. When I was initially trained, and I was trained in the coactive coach method and approach, when I was trained, we were told never to ask the question why, because it could put people on the defensive. Now that I've achieved that MCC status, that Master Certified Coach, we get the why back. It's basically one of the mentors told me. We get the why question back. We get to ask it. You know why? Because now we know how to wield it. So why now? It's all in how you ask the question, and sometimes when you're so dead set on getting to a conclusion or getting certain points to hit your recording for the ICF or whatever governing body, there's that opportunity where you might not come across the way that you thought you did. In your head, it was perfect. I agree with you. But sometimes it did not translate that well on the other side. And so the why now can be a great question, but also have fun with it. Make it your own. Sometimes I will mix up the questions. Like, I know my intent with it, and so there is where I get to learn to dance with the question that I ask in the beginning. I will still default to why now, or why is coaching important to you now, or why choose now. And sometimes I cringe at the questions I ask. So know that that is real. I still have my doubts and my imposter moments, and I still feel like, what the heck am I doing? Okay, I need more practice, and here we go. But I might ask things like, what makes this important for you now? That's a question. Especially with coaching on platforms, and I wholeheartedly embrace it because I'm the type of person that needs regular, consistent client flow, and especially as I do a lot more volunteering, and I want to feel free enough to write books and start my journey in audio narration with books, that I need a source of income that makes this all make sense, and dollars. And so what I've learned to do is basically find out, like, have they been through coaching before? And then when I find out that they haven't, do they have any questions or concerns? That's kind of my flow right now. And then there's that point where they say, I always know, like in the platform, they're supposed to get choices. They're either matched or they get choices of coaches. So I want to find out, what makes my profile the one that you chose. Is there anything from my profile that you remember? Because that tells me how you need me to show up. I also asked that question so that I could find out what parts of the profile I don't change, because that meant somebody picked me because of it. So there's that piece. There's also that piece where they say, where I get to find out, like, where they tell me their bosses said this, or their boss's boss said this, or they were voluntold that they will do coaching. I was like, okay. Well, I believe you're always at choice. So, you know, assuming that you always had a choice in the matter, what made you choose to embrace coaching now at this stage? Sometimes I get the Snickers, not the candy bar, although I should probably have breakfast, but the laughter that comes with, so I presume you had a choice, so you could still choose, and what made you choose to say yes in this case? And I never got anything other than an embracing of coaching beyond that point. So I do appreciate reminding people that they're at choice, and having guest starred in a podcast for ICF San Diego. I hit that moment where I remember that I want to empower people, and that's always been my mission. But part of that mission is also reminding people that they are in power. And part of the way that we're in power is that we have choice. And so when we abdicate our choices, when we give those away, I want to remind clients, myself, my mother, like, you had a choice in that. Let's not pretend we are powerless, because a day will come when we'll need to exercise that power, and we need to have practice wielding it. And also, I think it's just more fun in life when you don't feel like a victim and when you don't feel powerless. So all the ways I can remember for myself that I have power and I have choice is so helpful to me. So thank you for choosing to listen to me this far, for your listening to this podcast, and for all the things you do to share your gift with the world. Abso-freaking-lutely. So not only is this a key aspect, I think, to figuring out why are we beginning this journey together as an important aspect of coaching, I think it's an important thing for you to decide for yourself. One of the questions that came up in that San Diego podcast was, why join a chapter, or why go into coaching? And so this could be a reminder for you. Why now? Why are you listening to this podcast now? Why are you listening to all the other podcasts, or the mentors in your life? Or why are you doing coaching the way that you're doing it? This could be the time where you do what I recommend for a lot of my leaders to do, and that is to document your decisions. And if you haven't to this point, this could be that moment where you write down why you started coaching, why you chose to do it in the way that you're doing it. Why do you share your gift, your voice, your talent with the world? Because you always have a choice. You could leave us all in the dark, but I thank you for sharing your light with us. So that is my invitation. I am curious how you share your gift with the world, and why now is the time that you choose yourself. Drop me a line, info@sacred-time.com. That is info@sacred-time.com. So that's what's now. That's at least what's on my mind for now, why I started the podcast, and what's next. So for me, 2026 is the year of new beginnings. I will have transitioned into different aspects of my volunteering and my getting out into the world and being more visible, because I'm done hiding. I'm done hiding the gift that was given to me. If you believe in God, I got it from God. If you believe in Source, I believe in Source. Source gifted me this amazing gift, and I want to share it with the world. I want to touch as many lives as possible. I want to empower more people, because we are all in power. And it's important that we remember that we all have choices in some shape or form. And if we don't, that's where we start to work. Let us fix that. So what's next? Well, for 2026, we deem this the year of mastery. So you could join us in one of three ways, or all three if you so choose. The first way is with career coach training. This will be our way of helping you to focus on mastering your own coach approach. We'll do that through peer coaching and tips and tricks from me, Tiffany Dedeaux, a master certified coach. This program is going to be for a total of 22 CCEs. If you're in the ICF, that is more than half of what you need to renew your credential. The second way I'm going to help you is with the Career Coach Mastermind. In this monthly group session, we're going to dig into different topics. It'll be part book club, part podcast, but all about coaching, our craft, and what we're learning. The third way you can join me is with Deepen Your Roots. This is a way for you to dig deep so that you can aim high in this next year. I will be joined by Mother Nature because I will be going back to my roots with some nature-based coaching techniques. I'll be joined with Nicole Venner, the intuitive executive coach that will help you to trust yourself, and Gail Whipple, the leadership coach for creatives who are in the process of exploring what's next. Join us for a year of mastery where you can create the space to grow in community to position your brand for what's next. Your partner in change, Sacred Time.